Hi, this is Magic on Tap. I'm Mikey and I've got a deck tech for you today. And today we're going to be taking another look at a deck in Modern. This one's called Jeskai Arc. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Let's start off with the card that kind of is the main piece of this deck, and the whole deck doesn't really work if you don't have her in here. And that is Alesha, who smiles at death. And we're going to be playing 4 copies of her. She's a 3 mana cost, 2 generic and 1 red. She has First Strike, and she also has another ability which reads, whenever Alesha, who smiles at death, attacks, you may pay 2, so that's either white-white, or black-black, or white-black, and if you do, you can return a target creature with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So it really works around this card. It doesn't mean we have to have her to win the game. She's just a big part of what makes this deck really good. Getting more value out of your creatures the second time round, and in some ways we're just going to be putting creatures into our graveyard just to get them out again, tapped and attacking. They can't be countered unless the opponent has a spell or ability which counters an ability, or an activated ability. So yeah, it's just really good in that sense, like guaranteeing our creatures onto the field, and also we're going to get more value out of them if they have special enter the battlefield abilities, which they do, and also when they have attacking, they get more buffs from attacking. So let's take a look at the creatures in the base and see what we're playing with here. So first off, let's start off with the 1-drop creatures. We're going to be playing 4 copies of Stern Constable. It's a 1-drop for white, and you basically can tap it and discard a card and tap a target creature. So what we're looking to do with this deck effectively is turn 1 play a Stern Constable, turn 2 whatever creatures they have out, we're going to stop them in their tracks so that we can bring out more creatures, or that we can just hold them off. So we can either do it in their turn. What's more likely to happen is we'll pass the turn over to them, and then during their upkeep or whenever, we're going to tap down their creature so they can't attack with it. This is just kind of holding them back, really control-y aspect of this, effectively Arc, so Aggro, Re-animator, control. So we're going to be controlling them in the early game, stopping them from attacking, giving us a chance to bring out our bigger creatures or more powerful creatures. They're not really bigger, but they're later game playable. So, and then from the discard card, we can discard one of our creature cards directly into the graveyard, meaning that we can pull more out of the graveyard with Alesha later on. So going on to the 2-drop creatures, we are playing, I think we're playing 2 different 2-drop creatures. We're playing a Stingscourger, who enters the battlefield and has an Echo ability, which effectively means if we cannot pay the Echo ability, immediately goes into the graveyard, which is not an issue for us, especially if we do decide to play him on turn 2 or 3. More likely that we'll play him on turn 3 if we've got something that we want to attack with that's already kind of not summoning sick anymore. So we play it on turn 3 or 2, bounce a creature back to their opponent's hand, meaning they're just wasting their time, a bit more control-y again. And then in the next upkeep, we can either, if we've got 4 mana available, we can keep him on the field. We don't really want to do that. We want to get more value out of him. So what we want to do is we want to send him to the graveyard effectively, don't pay his Echo cost. And then if we have an Alesha and we don't have any other creatures that we want to bring in, then we can bring back a Stingscourger, returning any untapped creatures to their opponent's hand straight away. So it's kind of really good for just constantly putting the pressure on, as in they can't bring anything out because it's going to straight away go back into their hand, and then they're going to have to waste another turn getting that same creature out, especially if it's a big creature. Moving on, so our second 2-drop creature in this deck is Snapcaster Mage, and I think it's really clear why we're playing Snapcaster Mage. We're playing a bunch of instant sorceries that we're going to want to reuse later on, but just as a really good ability, straight away what we can do, so 2-cost creature, 1 generic and 1 blue. It has the ability Flash, so we can play that whenever we want, and when it enters the ability we give a target card gains flashback until the end of the turn, and it's equal to its mana cost. So we all know how Snapcaster works. So the idea effectively in this deck is to flash it in to assist in a block situation, give one of our cards flashback, either Bolt or Path or whatever other spells we've got, we'll go through them in a minute. And then if we're blocking with that creature, we don't care if it goes to the graveyard because we've thrown it into block, we've gained a flashback, we've used that, and then later on with Alesha we can bring him back again because it's an enter the battlefield ability, not a casting ability. So when he enters the battlefield we can then give another card flashback yet again. The only downside to this is if we keep doing this, we're going to start running out of instant sorcery spells in our graveyard to actually do it with. So it's like pick your moments type thing. If you want to just get that extra damage, remove a blocker from the situation, because with Alesha, we go into the attacking step. We attack with Alesha, pay 2, bring back Snapcaster, flash back a bolt or a path, remove the other creature before they're allowed to go into the blocking stage, and then we can go to the blocking step and they've got no creatures to block with. So it's really versatile in that effect. So moving on to our 3-drop creatures. Now we've got 3 3-drop creatures that we're playing, and that is the rest of the creatures for this deck. We're going to be playing 3 copies of Viashino Firstblade. So 3-drop, 1 generic, 1 red, and 1 white. It has haste. So when a Viashino Firstblade enters the battlefield, it gets +2/2 until the end of the turn. This card in general is just really good to just play straight off the bat. You play it, instantly has haste, swing in, turn 3 for 4 effectively. Now we're either going to take out one of their creatures or we're going to just stick them for 4 damage. And then with this card after that effect, it doesn't really do much else. So what we want to do effectively is just keep swinging with it, let it die, so that we can then bring it back from the graveyard later with Alesha. We don't really care about it being on the board. We don't want it to stay there forever. We want it to be in the graveyard so it can come back in as a 4/4 haster and just smash them up. On to the next 3-drop creature, we have a really good card, recently banned in Standard. I'm sure you all know this is Reflector Mage. So when Reflector Mage enters the battlefield, return target creature to its opponent's hand, and that creature's owner can't cast spells with the same name as that creature until your next turn. And it just does a lot of work. You can bring it in on turn 3, kind of similar to the Viashino Firstblade. We just want to continually swing in with it after that. The great thing is, when we have an Alesha out, we can swing in with the Alesha, bring in the Reflector Mage, bounce whatever creature they happen to have available back to their opponent's hand. They're not going to play it for 2 turns, and then we're going to swing in and get some more damage through. So it's kind of really controlling in that aspect. So we've got cards hitting the field, removing blockers from our path, and we're going to get through for a clean swing. Now once they figure this out, obviously this becomes a bit more of a tactical thing. You have to swing in with them when they come in from Alesha, so you're bound to lose them again. But when you're bringing in so many different creatures, they're not going to know what to do, especially if you're getting rid of their blockers as they're doing it. And finally, our last 3-drop creature is Geist of St. Traft. And again, that's a 1 generic, 1 white, and 1 blue. And it has the ability Hexproof. So the problem with this card, or the great thing about this card, is that before it can become a creature and gain that Hexproof, it's going to get countered and removed. So what we are looking to do effectively is get Geist of St. Traft onto the field safely, and we want it attacking as soon as possible. And Alesha does all 3 of those things. So we want to get it onto the field, and it's have to be safe, and it also needs to be attacking. So Alesha does all those things. You pay 2, you bring in Geist of St. Traft, comes in swinging, can't be countered because it wasn't cast, and then it brings in the 4/4 Angel as well. So you're swinging for 6 off 2 mana. And then if we do lose the Geist of St. Traft, we just bring it back again for 2 mana with the Alesha. It's simple as that. We don't even have to think about it. Just straight away, swing, pay 2. Bring in the St. Traft, swing for an extra 6 damage. Just immediately. And if they leave it on the field, then it's just going to do the same thing again, and we've got another creature in our graveyard which we can go and pick up and bring back into the game. So yeah, Geist of St. Traft, really good in that respect. That's all the creatures for this deck. Let's move on to the non-creature spells. We're playing 4 different non-creature spells, and the main one I'd like to look at the moment are the kind of the one that kind of churns this deck and allows it to do what it needs to do and gets you to the resolution you need to get to. And that card is Faithless Looting. It's a 1-drop red card, and you draw 2 cards and then you discard 2 cards. It's a very controlled spell which allows you to put what you need in the graveyard for your next turn. Especially if that's an Alesha, you want to keep that. You don't want that to go into the graveyard. Moving on to the other non-creature spells, 3 copies of Serum Visions, 4 copies of Path to Exile, and 4 copies of Lightning Bolt. And I think it's all quite self-explanatory. Serum Visions gets us the draw, and we get to set up our next 2 turns. Bolt to the face to a creature, whatever we need to do to keep them at bay until we can bring out Alesha. And Path, again, same thing, keep them at bay. And it removes those bigger creatures off the field, because we're playing with quite small creatures. We're just using a lot of them, and they kind of annoy our opponent. But when those bigger creatures come out, they're not going to do much to them, and we're going to fear swinging in. So we want to remove them from the field. So Path to Exile, really good. A quick look at the land base on the sideboard here. Versatile sideboard. It's not complete, like you must play this. It's a very kind of guided. This is what I'm kind of doing at the moment, and what I think works with the deck and gives it its flex. Okay, so that wraps up our video for today. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more content like this, then please like and subscribe. Especially if you don't want to miss out on more deck techs and games where we really go through the mechanics of the decks we build right here on this channel. And finally, just thanks again for watching, and hopefully we'll see you all next time, and we're making sure you've always got magic on tap. Hi guys again, really quickly before you go, over like here we're going to have some more deck techs that we've got. So we've been looking at tribal. It's been really fun to do. First off we looked at red, looked at tribal dragons, then we looked at green and we did tribal druids. They were really fun to make and play, so check those out. And then also just below this window we're going to have a massive subscribe button. If you enjoy it, then please hit that. Thanks again, bye bye.